manager. So by using the command tail -F, which tells Linux to open up a file and just look at the bottom of the file, if I then double click on my system out.log, right mouse click to paste, I'm now tailing the log. So if I hit enter a few times, then go back to my previous screen or shell script, I'm now going to change the command line to be start manager. Now you don't need a password to start, but I'll just change it quickly to make things quicker. So by using the command start manager.sh, in case is important, remember, in Linux, it's not like Windows. While this is running, we'll just switch over and look at the log. I'd just like to make a few points that if you were using this on Windows, it's pretty well much the same. The difference is you'll be using batch files, and Windows doesn't tail, so you'd have to download WinTail or some other utility which will do the same job. Windows is not as useful as Linux in my opinion, and doesn't really lend to advanced enterprise scripting and management of Websphere. Memory management in Unix, or especially Linux in this case, is a lot better. It's a lot more controlled and more robust. And let's face it, at the end of the day, when you use this knowledge, you'll be in an enterprise, I would say, being the fact that this is Websphere ND. So you're probably working for a large company or even a large corporate, multinational corporate even. And so therefore you'll be dealing with many nodes, many cells, and the kit that you're probably running this stuff on is worth hundreds and hundreds, maybe even millions of dollars. So you really want to do it right from the beginning. So most of my tutorials will come at an angle of how do we do this in the enterprise as opposed to what would we do at home. That way you have much more benefit. As you can see, that we're seeing that the deployment manager is starting up. We're looking for a message that tells us that it started. When this is done, we'll be able to navigate to the administration console via a browser and actually see what that looks like. You can see that in the logs it's actually discovering some processes, like it can actually see that there's a node and the node agent's running, and it's even found that the process ID of the node agent is 2898. So if I was to do a ps-ef grep, say -i node agent, we can see that there is a Java process that's running called the node agent, and you can see that at the top here 2898 is indeed its PID. So we know and can tell that from this sort of syntax that this is essentially a Java virtual machine. So even the node agent, the deploy manager, are virtual machines in their own right. Sometimes tail can run out, so you might want to retail the log again just to see what's going on. Right, looks like it started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a browser and navigate to Websphere. So it's http 192.168.0.91, which is the IP address I'm using for my virtual machine. And I'm going to go to port 9060, which is the default port for the admin console, /IBM/console. We have to proceed anyway because we're using a self-signed certificate, and the browser knows that it's actually not a valid certificate, but we don't care about that. We'll come back to that in another course. My username and password is wasadmin, so by typing the username and password I can log in to the administrative console. Might have to wait a little bit. Being a virtual machine, sometimes your machines are a little bit slow. I've opted to use CentOS 5.3 as my host, and running inside that is a virtual machine technology called VirtualBox from Sun Microsystems, and it's free. And so I have a CentOS 5.3 server running inside a CentOS 5.3 server. And here's the administration console. So we're going to log out now and we'll come back to the next steps in the next recording.